Is self-esteem really about just being positive? Or is it really just about telling yourself that you are so lovable? Is this really self-esteem? To be honest, I doubt this. I think it's fucking BS what a lot of people say. And in this video, I will tell you how you can build really a great foundation about self-esteem and stop seeking external validation, especially. This will also be the main focus of this video. And after this video, you will no longer need to seek external validation. But I don't just have it from myself, okay? So there's a book, it's called The Six Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. And he was a pioneer, a real one, who really found out what is real self-esteem. Okay, and I have read this book and I have read around 100 books, and I can say this book is really good to understand what self-esteem is. Okay, and a lot of what I learned, I have also, I refer to the book or what I learned from the book, you know. I just will tell you it in my own words here. So yeah, we will talk about the first pillars of self-esteem here. Okay, so the first pillar, first of all, is always, and it always has been this pillar, always, is self-awareness. It's always self-awareness. This is why these, you know, Yoda Zen masters tell you that you need to just live in the now, because living now is also part of self-awareness, you know. And yeah, it literally helps you later to basically fix all your problems by practicing that. But it's not just about living in the now, even though it matters. It's also about understanding you intellectually also, and expanding intellectually also your self-awareness about what you want, about where you are. Where are you right now in life? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Right? Who do you need to be for this? Right? And also the mental emotional level, right? For example, why is it that you want what you want? This is an important question that you need to ask yourself, because otherwise the external validation won't disappear. So why is it what you want that you want? So basically by asking yourself powerful questions, you can do it on a daily basis, right? Where you want to go in life, who are you? Who are you? And where do you want to be? Who do you want to be in the future? By expanding the self-awareness, overall, journaling can help a lot. Having a journal, having an app there where you can make notes can help you that, where you really write down, okay, what did happen? How did I thought about it? And how did I feel about it emotionally? Right? And what was the end result? For example, this helps a lot to expand your self-awareness. Everything that expands your self-awareness will benefit your self-esteem at the end. And especially if you understand it mentally, emotionally, you will understand why you want what you want. And this is the core to stop seeking external validation. This is one of the core fundamentals to realize that rather you seek validations to look, okay, where does this thought come from that I have to be this way? Okay, did I have to act this way? Where does it come from? Maybe from somewhere else. Usually it comes from the past, from the parents somewhere, or from society, right? Okay, and now I will really reveal to you the big mistake that many people make and how you can fix that or resolve that, in better words, so that you stop seeking external validation. So the second pillar is self-acceptance. Okay, there will be also a third pillar. The second pillar is self-acceptance. And self-acceptance is not just being all lovey-dovey and telling yourself how amazing you are. To be honest, this will only work superficially. It's most often before you have released the resistance towards yourself. It's most often BS. It's fucking bullshit and doesn't help anyway. At the start. Later it helps. So even if I tell myself now on the superficial level, oh yeah, I love myself, so amazing, yeah man, I'm the best man. Okay. If I have not dig deeper and understood my core beliefs or released especially the resistance, right, that comes also from this inner child kind of thing, then it will just stay superficially, right? That's why a lot of people talk these affirmations that never work, right? Maybe you heard about it. People telling themselves affirmations and they rarely ever work because they don't resolve with the resistance beneath that. So what can you do now to stop seeking external validation? How does this function? I will now tell you a specific meditation, a special one, in which you can stop it, and it has to do with the self-acceptance process. So you have now asked yourself, I assume you have asked yourself now what you really want and why you want this, right? Now imagine a situation usually where you seek external validation, okay? Now you write down two things. One thing, what you write down is how you want to act, who you want to be, okay? So how you want to be in the situation, how would you think in the situation, how would you feel in the situation, right? So what would happen if it would go your way? Okay, and we mean only you, not how other people should react. So it's only about you. Okay, and the third, the other thing is you write down. Okay, when this thing appears, where seek external validation. So what really happens? How do you think and how do you feel? This gives you first of all clarity again, right? And helps you also if you feel the emotions while you write it down. From this external validation part, this uncomfortable emotion, like you know, how you behave even though you don't want to behave. Okay, so you write this down, and now what you do is you close your eyes, or you can just do this later, of course, if you're at home. When you're at a safe space, you close your eyes, you meditate now. You start to breathe in consciously, in and out. Okay, just do it 3 times. So I give you the instruction, and you can do it later at home. And what you do next is you imagine the situation where you seek external validation, right? And the job here is not to feel amazing about that. We want to trigger this emotion now, okay? So the goal is not to feel amazing about that. If it doesn't trigger fully, imagine you will fully act how yourself, how you want to. But don't imagine how it will be your ideal self. Literally imagine you would have right now to walk to this situation. You will act just how you want to, right? You will just do whatever you want, right? And now, usually this triggers your this external validation kind of thing, right? This other part is triggered because things, but this is not who we are. This is not real, right? And now, while you meditate, observe this conflict between these two. So one thing is who you want to be, but then this other thing appears that tells you who you need to be. These emotions, focus on the emotional part. Feel these emotions and stay with them as long as it needs to, until you feel a feeling of release or it gets lighter at some point. Okay? It feels like you have proceeded something, like you feel lighter. Okay, stay with that if you have to for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, okay, or longer. And after you are done, now staying with these emotions, observing them in your body parts, in the parts of your body. Okay, this is what you do. You observe the emotions that come from these negative emotions. Now you imagine this part would be it will be a part of you usually, and you imagine how it will look like. Usually it looks like you're in a child or something like that. Imagine his age, how you would look like. Okay, imagine that. And now you talk with him, you validate his emotions. Okay, and tell him that everything is fine with his emotions that he feels, and do it really in a warmed way. Okay, and after that, after you validate his emotions, after it has gotten a little bit better, now you imagine you would satisfy his needs. So ask him what he needs and just give it to him, whatever he wants. It can be a toy, or going for a walk, can be friends. Just give him what he wants, okay? Give him what he wants and help him to satisfy his needs. Ask him whether he needs again something more, he needs something else as well, or if he doesn't need something anymore, right? And after you're done, now you can come back, right? You can say goodbye to him and yeah, now you're done with the meditation. This is how you are not more needy because you give him what he needs, right? So now the external validation, at least in this one situation, right, starts to fade away, right? If there are multiple different triggers, you can do this, of course, multiple times, right? It can be that there are multiple triggers. You can do this multiple times and the external validation will, this one trigger will disappear every time. And one day, boom, you don't need it anymore, right? And this is the second pillar, the self-acceptance. It's all about releasing your inner resistance, right? And you have to understand there are like two parts in you. One is what you really want, okay? Maybe you know that already. If not, by asking these questions at the start of the video, you will start to know that. And then there's this part that tell you what you should want, should need. This comes from your parents, society's conditioning, and so on. Okay? And the gap between these two is you suffering and seeking external validation. Okay? So you want to close this gap over the time. This is basically what happens. The short version was created from society, from your own expectations, and so on. And by making this meditation, you release this resistance. You allow yourself to be who you really want. Okay? It's not happens by forcing yourself. I will tell you now one mistake that many make, and it's about the third pillar. The third pillar is self-responsibility. It's basically the action that you now can take. What action can you now take? Maybe going the same situation, right? Doing one step more towards your business, right? And so basically this, yeah, right, I want to say the mistake. The one mistake that many people make is they overjump this step of self-acceptance and they try to take no action. But the problem is you will do this action out of guilt or out of the feeling of being forced. So you try to grind very hard, you force yourself, right, to all these things, you constantly force yourself. Or you act out of guilt, right? You don't want to feel guilty, that's why you act. So when you overjump the second layer of the self-esteem, where you still seek external validation or just somehow influenced, manipulated by old conditioning, then you will take responsibility in an unhealthy way. You will be maybe over-responsible, right? You will maybe take one step, but then out of nowhere avoid it. Because there's still resistance. That's why self-acceptance is the second layer. You first release this resistance, right? Or you can, of course, act and release resistance, act, release resistance. But the second layer is the most important one. If you really accept yourself, you go from the very beginning, act from the highest intention, right? Just the way how you want. And of course, the natural outcome is that you want to take responsibility and to grow. So many people try to be self-responsible, but they can do it because they don't expand the first pillar. They don't dig deep enough about the self-awareness and the conscious awareness, right? And this, a task I want to give you about this is set a timer, like that you do become self-conscious at least 3 times per hour, right? Try to become self-conscious. Ask yourself who I am, where I am right now, right? And what do you feel in your body? What do you feel in your body? What you experience in your body? So become fully conscious, right? So this is one big mistake many make. They focus too fast on self-responsibility before they're even conscious. And before they have released this resistance. And then they try to force themselves and be how others want them to be. And this is what society tells you, self-responsibility. Self-responsibility comes from your own will, right? It happens also internally by you acting aligned on an energetical level, also with yourself, aligned with yourself. Okay. So I hope this video helped you. Comment below whether you want to see, by the way, the other three pillars from this book. Right, I forgot to mention this. So there are other three pillars. There are like 6 pillars altogether, right? There are other three pillars. These are the higher pillars. Okay, so this is if you really want to go the full way towards self-esteem. Comment below whether you want to see that, whether something helped you, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, of course, if it helped you. See you next time. Bye bye.